The Dana White's Contender Series post-fight press conference just wrapped up, and Dana White stormed off stage after being brutally confronted by a reporter on Jon Jones's pound-for-pound status, and it was glorious to watch. We're going to watch the entire exchange in this video, and that reporter was none other than Kevin Iole. And when I say Dana White was brutally confronted, I am not being hyperbolic. I am not over-exaggerating. He straight up called out Dana White to his face and said, does Jon Jones have some type of blackmail pictures on you? What about when you said Jon Jones lost to Dominic Reyes? And then even when Dana White started to try to bully Kevin Iole and shout over Kevin Iole said, oh, so this is what you're going to do. You're just going to shout over me now. And called him out right to his face. It was beautiful to watch. It was glorious to watch. It was amazing to watch. And also, we might have confirmation that Dana White has either seen the channel or heard of the channel, because something he said was jarring. And usually I don't make these types of claims, but we'll get to that later in the video. I want to start off. I watched this entire press conference live on stream, so I want to insert a clip here of me reacting live as Dana White storms out of the press conference. He ran out of there. Dude, he ran away from Kevin. He ran away from Kevin. He said, I don't want no more smoke. Dude ran away. Dude ran away from Kevin. He ran away from Kevin. Stop the fight. Stop the fight. Where's Dan Hardy when you need him? Stop the fight. Now, if you can't tell from that clip, this press conference was an absolute heater, so let's just jump right into it because there's a lot to cover. Now, this first clip isn't part of the grander debate, but this is the first mention of Jon Jones at the press conference before we get into the debate, and Dana White's already kind of joking around about Jon Jones being pound for pound.
Some awareness.
I just wanted to ask, did you spend some of your days this week just tagging Jon Jones in random Instagram posts that have nothing to do with him?
No. Did I mention to you guys that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time?
They're not laughing with you, Dana. They're laughing at you. So apparently Dana was randomly tagging Jon Jones on Instagram, but then Dana goes on to say, did I tell you guys? Dana White's feeling the heat on this. He knows people are making fun of him because this is all he's doing. He's sucking off a guy who has one fight in the last 4 years saying he's pound for pound. And in this video and in this debate, he actually kind of shits on Islam Makhachev. It was crazy to see shitting on Islam Makhachev, who is the pound for pound number one, who is active, who is fighting other guys on the pound for pound list. It's crazy to see. But let's get into the actual debate, which is over 10 minutes long. It's over 10 minutes long, and man, was it glorious to watch. And it all started with like a joke question about, oh, is Jon Jones pound for pound? And then Kevin Iole just latched onto it and went toe-to-toe with Dana White for over 10 minutes. And I'll tell you right now, we needed Dan Hardy. We needed Dan Hardy to run in. Stop the fight. Stop the fight. Because this was a TKO win. Actually, you know what? He stiffened him. Kevin Iole put Dana White out cold after dunking him on his bald spot, which Dana White, his bald spot's his entire head. But let's listen.
Guys on a lot of stuff.
Is Jon Jones the pound for pound GOAT?
Did what?
Is Jon Jones the pound for pound GOAT?
He's the pound for pound best fighter in the world, and he's the GOAT. And you all know this.
No, he's not. You have to be active to actually be pound for pound.
Numbers don't lie.
Does he have pictures of you?
Did you guys hear that? I hate to rewind this because we got so much to cover here. This may be a 45-minute video, but listen to what Kevin Iole sneaks in here. Listen to what he sneaks in here. Does he have pictures of you, Dana? Are you running around in a thong somewhere and Jon Jones has pictures of you and he's going to embarrass you? Does Jon Jones have pictures of you during a coke-filled weekend binge with hookers and prostitutes and maybe midgets as well? Or small people? Is that what's going on here? Kevin Iole calls him out on that.
Numbers don't lie.
Does he have pictures of you?
I saw that on the internet too. Are you guys that fucking stupid? You can't be that fucking stupid to think that Jon Jones is not the pound for pound best fighter in the world and the GOAT. But maybe
he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. Depending on if you want to say, oh, well, PEDs disqualifies him from that conversation. But he's not pound for pound. He's one fight in 4 years. But Kevin Iole, I swear, Kevin Iole, it's like he used every single talking point that was just perfect, picture perfect, stuff that I've been laying out and other people have been saying for the last year. And Kevin Iole took it and just threw it right in Dana White's face over and over and over again until Dana White stormed out of here in about 10 minutes from now.
He's not going to talk to any of us either, because right now...
What do you mean?
Because he's watching this, and we're all saying, questioning you, and...
Yeah. Question me. How do you... Who's better than Jon Jones? Who's pound for pound better than...
No? Okay.
Thank God he sat back down. He was about to leave there. By the way, who's better than Jon Jones? I don't know. Islam Makhachev, who's on a crazy win streak, and on that win streak beat at least 3 guys on the pound for pound list. Alexander Volkanovski. Oh, remember that first fight? You promoted it as battle for the pound for pound. Oh, before that he beat Charles Oliveira, who was on the pound for pound list, and then he beat Volkanovski again, and then he beat Dustin Poirier, and he's been active, and he has, so many fights over the past 4 years where Jon Jones has won. But
John?
At what point does activity come into play, right? I mean, we all agree there is nobody better than Jon Jones. He's the greatest of all time. There's no question about it. But
by the way, look how John Morgan kind of cozies up to him. There's no doubt he's the GOAT, which is true. I thought right here when I was watching live, I thought, oh, John Morgan just bailed him out because Kevin Iole was about to be on his ass. Going to get on his ass quick.
But at some point when you're looking at rankings, they do have to represent what's happening in the organization at that moment, right at that time. And in the past 3 years, he's had 1 fight.
And you thought he lost to Reyes.
Thank you, Kevin Iole. And you thought he lost to Reyes, Dana. You said he lost to Reyes. Kevin Iole is the fucking man. If I could jump through this screen and kiss him right on his bald head, I would. I would. And I'm not kidding. Okay? You thought he lost to Dom Reyes. Oh, Dana White was pissed when he heard that. Let's listen to that one more time. Okay?
At that moment, right at that time. And in the past 3 years, he's had 1 fight.
And you thought he lost to Reyes.
Huh?
And when he fought Reyes, you said you thought Reyes won the fight.
He didn't win the fight. Jon Jones did.
But you
You thought he lost to Reyes, Dana? Oh my God, this is glorious. This is glorious.
said you thought he won the fight.
Who gives a shit? I'm not the fucking judges. The guy didn't win he didn't lose the fight. And the one loss that he has is from a referee that should have never been a referee in a million years. He's never.
I would have loved for Kevin to rebut him here. And don't get me wrong, he did an amazing job. But said, well, you are making the statement that he is pound for pound number 1. You also made the statement, and it was your opinion, that he lost to Dom Reyes. Those two don't coincide. Those two don't level out, okay? So you can't say, oh, well, he didn't win. Well, okay, that's true. Jones got it on the scorecard. But now and what's crazy here, let's actually listen to it real quick, and then I'll give my opinion on it.
Never lost. We were just talking tonight, these kids that come in here that are undefeated, you know how hard it is to stay undefeated? Jon Jones went through Murderer's Row, and when you talk about activity...
Let me actually rewind this, because did he already say it right before I paused it? Hold on.
He's never lost. We were just talking tonight, kids that come in here, guy didn't win he didn't lose the fight. And the one loss that he has is from a referee that should have never been a referee in a million years.
So you can excuse away the actual loss. This makes no sense. Dana's saying at the end of the day, the judges gave Jones the fight against Dominic Reyes. But then he's following that up immediately with, well, the referee messed up. Well, maybe the judges messed up. According to you, they did. So it doesn't make any sense here because it's one or the other. You can't say, oh, well, the judges gave him the win. Well, the referee gave Matt Hamill the win. The referee said Jon Jones was disqualified. That's Jon Jones' loss now. According to you, the commission's the end-all, be-all. That's what you just said literally 3 seconds before. That's what I thought he said that in a second, but then I realized, okay, it was back before this.
He's never lost. We were just talking tonight, these kids that come in here that are undefeated, you know how hard it is to stay undefeated? Jon Jones went through Murderer's Row, and when you talk about activity, and he's fought 1 time, but Jon Jones was supposed to fight. If Jon Jones was sitting on the couch and saying, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to fight again, then he's definitely not in the pound-for-pound discussion right now. He was scheduled to fight, and he got injured. He is an active fighter.
I would love for someone to ask him, so if he gets injured again and he's out for another year, is he still pound for pound? If he drops dead tomorrow, is he pound for pound perpetually into the future? What is this? This makes no sense. Well, he was scheduled. Okay, that doesn't mean shit. He hasn't fought. So how can you look at it and say, oh, well, he's pound for pound? We don't know how good he is anymore because he hasn't been fighting.
He is absolutely an active fighter. And when you talk about pound for pound, and I don't want to shit on any of my other guys.
This is the craziest part. He starts shitting on Islam Makhachev, drove me nuts. And also, how can you say he's an active fighter? One fight since 2020, February 2020, he fought Dominic Reyes. Since the end of, let's say the end of February 2020, he's fought one time. That's active? That doesn't make any sense. It's not active.
But who is it right now? Islam? Islam, many people believe, lost to the guy who's a weight class below him.
So basically, he's only justifying it when it fits his narrative. Well, many people thought Islam lost to a guy a weight class down from him. Well, he's actually fighting and he won. Again, the judges gave it to him. And guess what? Oh, I would have loved this too. You know what I would have said? Kevin Ali does a good job holding him to account. I would have said, well, you promoted that fight as the battle for the pound for pound. Jon Jones hasn't done shit since then but to beat Cyril Gane, who wasn't even on the pound for pound list. So which is it, Dana? What about all that promotion you had? Was that lies? Was that lies?
Is that how pound for pound works? Many people, including people in this room.
But he got the win. It doesn't matter what we
You're,
say.
you're absolutely right.
Shout out to John Morgan for pointing out that massive hypocrisy. And also, let me just say this right now. If you thought Islam Makhachev lost to Alexander Volkanovski in that first fight, you were mentally disabled. He won 4-1. He won 4-1. Only lost the 5th round. Okay? You were delusional if you believe otherwise, and you cost Volkanovski his career. Because he loses 4-1, everyone hypes him up, says, oh, you won, you won, you won. And then he's like, oh, let me take it on short notice. I can definitely win since I won the first fight. You lost. Imagine losing 4-1 on a full camp and then say, yeah, I want this guy on short notice. And then he got knocked out and the rest is history. Now his career is basically in the gutter. Okay? So that's all your guys' fault for hyping him up off a loss.
But he fought a weight class down.
And technically this is a lie. He didn't fight a weight class down. Somebody came up and fought him. So what did Volkanovski weigh in at? I believe he weighed in at 155. So what fight did that weight class take place at? Oh, it took place at lightweight. So maybe he's just misspeaking here, but this is just bullshit as well.
He fought a weight class down. Jon Jones fought a weight class up. And let me tell you what, when all the guys were in there, you had the Jon Jones, the Anderson Silvas, and the George St. Pierres. I know who wanted to fight who and who didn't want to fight who. And Jon Jones has always been willing to fight everybody. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to pull it up right now because I've showed it in too many other videos, and this video is already going to be long. Dana White acted like Jon Jones needed to move to middleweight when Francis Ngannou folded Stipe Miocic like a lawn chair. And then he said, oh, Jon can say he wants to fight, but does he really want to fight? He was making it seem like Jones was scared of Ngannou. Okay? And now he's saying, oh, Jon Jones wants to fight everyone. And soon, I think it's soon. I haven't watched this back since I watched it live. He mentioned something that was recently in my video that nobody else has talked about. So that tells me he either saw it or someone mentioned it to him.
The only real mark with me, with Jon Jones, it was his fucking team that he was with at that time, who I could tell you 50 fucking stories about. The Chael Sonnen fight. When they were refusing to fight Chael Sonnen. You know what I mean? But
I put this in a video the other day. Nobody has talked about this. Everyone has forgotten about this. I put this in a recent video. The audio of him absolutely shitting on Jon Jones, saying he was scared of Chael Sonnen and refusing to take the fight. And if you want to be one of the best, you got to be willing to take on all comers. And Chael's less dangerous than Dan Henderson. And now, all of a sudden, he's mentioning it at a press conference. Let's actually insert the audio here.
This guy is dangerous, you know. And if you are the champion, and you're the pound for pound one of the best in the world, you should be ready to fight all comers. Well, you know, the reality is the guy's our champion, but you know me, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I think and how I feel, and you know that's what we're doing. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, Jon didn't want to take the fight. He didn't like it. It's not really how this works, you know. One of the things that I always complain about in boxing are guys not fighting guys. If you are the best in the world in your weight class.
So you guys can hear it for yourself there. I mean, he's all of a sudden bringing this up. So either he saw that. I'm not going to sit here and self-aggrandize that, oh, he's watching my videos. I don't even think that. Someone mentioned that to him. Because I exposed that audio because a lot of fans don't remember that. They weren't fans then. We're talking 12 years ago, 13 years ago. He's literally just shitting on Jones and saying, yeah, Jones won't fight Chael. And he's supposed to be one of the best, but he's not fighting all comers. Well, he's only fought now once in the last 4 years, and you're saying he's pound for pound and just flipping the script. I mean, you contradict yourself from week to week, Dana.
But other than that, Jon Jones has fought everybody that's ever been put in front of him. He went through murderer's row, and if you look at who he fought at the time when he fought them, look at the record of the guys combined that he fought. And the list just goes on and on.
Cyril Gamba's coming off a win over Tai Tuivasa, if I'm not mistaken. Not ranked in the pound-for-pound rankings. Islam Makhachev defeated 3 straight guys ranked in the top 5 of the pound-for-pound at the time that he fought them. Meanwhile, again, Jon Jones, 1 fight in 4 years against a guy who's not on the pound-for-pound list and Cyril Gane. I mean, it's crazy. Just look at this. Just look at this. Oh, yeah, Cyril Gane, Dom Reyes, Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith. That's crazy. I believe Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. But when you're looking at pound for pound, we have to encapsulate recent memory. Okay, we're talking about who's the best right now. We don't have enough information on Jon Jones to say that he's the best right now because he hasn't fought since March of 2023 against Cyril Gane. Before that, a close fight with Dominic Reyes. Before that, a split decision against Thiago Santos. The last super impressive win he had was in 2018, outside of the Cyril Gane win. I'm talking about light heavyweight. Okay, so this is just a completely devoid of logic argument.
That makes him the greatest fighter of all time, not the greatest active fighter, because he is not an active fighter. He has fought one time in over 4 years.
He is an active fighter. He just got injured. He was going in.
But he hasn't fought.
Kevin Iole was on his ass. I almost feel like I don't even need to say anything because he's saying everything for me. Is Kevin watching the videos? Maybe he is. Because he pushed every logical talking point that you could. How is he an active fighter when he's fought one time in 4 years? You can't just say he's an active fighter and have no information to back that up. It's an outright lie. To say he is an active fighter is a lie. It doesn't matter the circumstances, which they get into in a second.
And he was going in to fight at heavyweight again.
Okay.
A weight class above.
But that's
and he fucking destroyed the guy who was the best guy in the division.
But that's an unfortunate thing, and I think everybody here, if he was active, if he had fought one more time,
I love the enunciation on active there.
Would say he's number one.
He was active. He blew his fucking shoulder out in training and then had to recover and is still coming back and fighting that fight.
So here's the argument. You could say that we don't know anything.
Jon Jones is active.
Don't know. No, see, that's what you do. You talk over us so we can't answer.
I apologize. You go ahead.
Get him, Kevin. You talk over us. What are you doing talking over me, bitch? Baldy, shut your mouth. Let me make my point. I absolutely love this, man. I can't express to you guys, and maybe you guys feel the same. Seeing, like, Kevin's not even being disrespectful here. He's just pushing back with logical information and facts against a dumb narrative that Dana White is shoving down our throats. And it just feels so good, at least that Dana's at least hearing this, because it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense what he's saying. And there is a defense for this fight. I do believe you can craft a narrative to defend this fight, and we'll get to that later when Dana tries to a little bit. But I love that Kevin called him out like, dude, you're just shouting over me right now. Let's listen to it again.
And then had to recover and is still coming back and fighting that fight.
So here's the argument. You could say that we don't know anything.
Jon Jones is active.
Don't know. No, see, that's what you do. You talk over us so we can't answer.
I apologize. You go ahead.
Yeah, you apologize, Baldy. Apologize to Kevin Iole. Bow down to the alpha male.
So if he fought and we don't put him number one, then you have that argument to say you don't know what the hell you're talking about. We are all, I think everybody in this room is saying he's the greatest fighter of all time. And I think most people in this room would say he is the number one pound for pound fighter of all time. But you can't just sit on your laurels from something you did 3, 4, 5 years ago. So
I fucking love it. I love it. Jon Jones is only the pound for pound in a world where Uncle Rico took states, okay? They're trying to jump into a time machine and say, Jon Jones is pound for pound. Essentially, if you're saying Jon Jones is pound for pound, you're going off these fights. Oh, Ovince St. Preux in 2016. Alexander Gustafsson in 2018. Anthony Smith 2019. And these aren't even, honestly, they haven't even aged that well. Some of his best wins are back here. Daniel Cormier twice. Okay, Glover Teixeira. The Daniel Cormier wins were excellent. Which, this one isn't even a win because it's a no contest. My eye couldn't even catch that one. It's a no contest because of what? Of what? Failed drug test. Failed drug test. So you're getting it into a time machine. Like Uncle Rico, coach would have put me in fourth quarter. We would have took states to justify this. Completely delusional. And Kevin Ioli's rightfully addressing it here right to Dana White's face. And I absolutely love it. And look at Dana, man. He's shook. He is shook. He's like, what the fuck is going on? It's like, what's going on here? By the way, guys, if you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. I would appreciate it very much. All right, let's continue.
When was the Cyril Gahn fight?
Since Islam, he has.
When the fuck was the Cyril Gahn fight? It was forever ago. If you can't remember, then it's too long ago to put him in #1 pound for pound. Look at this. Look at this guy. He's like, when was it? It was 2 weeks ago. You don't even show up for half the fights, Dana. You wouldn't know. You're too busy worrying about Dumpling and Wolverine and whatever other truck driver you have slapping each other.
He hasn't fought in 18 months.
Okay.
Okay, and it's going to be 20 months by the time he gets in the ring. So that, assuming he gets in the ring, right? We don't know.
Assuming we don't know exactly. Thank you, Kevin, for pointing that out. Astute observation.
He's going to, he's going to be healthy. So all I think everybody is saying, and the argument against you is the fact that most people who do pound for pound lists have a 1 year cutoff, unless they're, they had a fight scheduled at the time. So Jon fell out of pound for pound list because it was over a year and he didn't have a fight schedule.
He did.
He doesn't have.
He did have a fight schedule.
Oh my God! So he had a fight schedule last November. So now we got to put him in pound for pound. It's been over a year since he last fought. It's coming up on a year and a half since he last fought. Why would he still be pound for pound #1, especially considering his last fight came 3 years after his previous last fight? It makes absolutely no sense. And wait till Kevin gets on Stipe Miocic's ass. Wait till he starts grilling him about Stipe Miocic. Absolutely love that part.
And he got injured.
And so that. Okay.
And now he does have a fight scheduled now.
How many times did we ask you, Dana, is he fighting? I don't know what's happening with Jon Jones.
Exactly. And I showed you that. Well, I don't know if I finish that clip. I think I showed you that clip earlier. I might have cut it off a little bit too soon. Where earlier when he said, did I mention Jon Jones is pound for pound? Maybe like 5 seconds after that, he said, oh, well, we're not announcing the November card yet. We're going to wait till we have the fights, but that's the plan. So it's not a fight that is officially announced. Okay?
Just like you say about Conor now, right?
I did not say I don't know what's happening with Jon Jones. What I said was Jon Jones is injured and he's recovering from his injury. Fucking common sense. Everybody knows that. This guy just said he knows he's fighting in fucking November. Will I announce it? I said I'll announce it when the whole card is, but everybody knows he's fighting.
But is he? You haven't announced it. You haven't. It's not official. And just to point to some random media member and say, this guy knows. So then he does have a fight scheduled. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a fight scheduled on the books. And I want to point out something. I wanted to wait till we got into this debate a little bit. We probably still have another 5 minutes of debate, so we're going to have to zoom through it. Otherwise, it's going to be an hour-long video. Maybe it will. So be it. You notice everyone else in the room? Zip their fucking lips. Kevin Iole is the only reporter man enough to just confront Dana. And he's not being disrespectful. He's not being shitty. He's just being rational. And he's confronting him with facts. Facts that Dana White does not want to be confronted with, and I absolutely fucking love it.
It's fucking silly. And I don't know what this game is with everybody, but
this man is sitting up there at the Dana White's Contender Series post-fight presser. Second week in a row, he's got Trump memorabilia on his clothes, and he goes around saying, I'm not political. I'm not political. You tell me who's silly. This man said at a post-fight presser, 6 months ago, he said, yeah, there's no homophobia in the UFC. We got lesbians in the co-main event. Yeah, well, you tell me who's silly, all right?
Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Until this fucking guy, and he has been he hasn't fought, what'd you say, 18 months?
Is he smoking crack? How did he not remember that? I mean, I guess we'll give him a pass for that, but that was literally like 10 seconds ago.
Since the Cyril Gahn fight?
18 months and then 1 in 4 years.
So 18 months, he moved up and he fought Cyril Gahn and destroyed him in a weight class above him, who was the #1 guy in the world. And I'm
Number one guy in the world? No. Maybe number one guy in the UFC, but not number one guy in the world. Francis Ngannou was the number one guy in the world, but you refused to give any concessions to still keep him on the roster and make the fight the fans truly wanted to see. And by the way, I've broken this down in another video, so I'm not going to go on a whole rant about it. The reason Dana is so dead set on hyping up Jon Jones, one, to sell the pay-per-view against Stipe Miocic, but also to disregard Francis Ngannou. Forget about Francis Ngannou. That's what he wants the fans to do. That's what he wants everyone to do. That's what he wants people just to forget about him. He's erased him from UFC history, basically. That's where this all began. This was the origination of this whole Jon Jones storyline between Dana and Jon Jones.
in the UFC. Then we book another fight. He's training for the fight, blows his shoulder out, which means he's still active, gets surgery, recovering, and is scheduled to fight in November.
That does not mean he's still active. I don't care if he blew his own back out. Pause. He's not active. You can't say, oh, well, he didn't fight, but he's still active. It makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Thank God someone's actually confronting him. I wish I would have been there. I would have started ganging up. Me and Kevin Ali would have been jumping Dana at this point. He would have already stormed off because we would have been jumping him.
He is an active fighter.
I think it's kind of like Bill.
I would have leaped over the table at that point and started strangling him. How can you look me dead in the eyes and say Jon Jones is an active fighter? I don't care what the reason is. Okay? I don't care what the reason is. He's not an active fighter.
Clinton's definition of is.
I don't even know what that means, but
That was
I think what he's saying is the whole Bill Clinton sexual relations thing. I was a very young kid at the time, but I think that's what he's talking about. I think that's the reference Kevin Ali's making.
when he was getting impeached, and then the lawyer, but forget that.
no, but he has been an active fighter. He's active. It's not like Jon Jones was not active and was not accepting fights. And I also believe, because I know how Jon Jones is, Jon Jones fights and beats Stipe. If he wins, I think he fights Aspinall.
Trying to defuse the situation here. Look, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter that he fights Stipe. He's going to fight Tom Aspinall, but he's going to fight Stipe first. And he gets into this more here in a second, but he's just trying to alleviate some of the heat. The fans are getting on his ass. The media is now, well, at least Kevin Ali's getting on his ass. The rest of them there are just, they have their lips zipped. They've locked it and threw away the keys. They wouldn't dare step to those waters against Dana White. They're too afraid, but Kevin Ali gives no fucks.
So it's all just, this is some little fucking game we're all playing that I don't understand.
Well, and
He
Dana,
is the pound for pound best fighter in the world, and he's the
I think
greatest
the
of all
last
time.
point of this
And
is-
you don't have to like him. It's not like me and Jon Jones are fucking,
I like
buddy.
Well, I like Jon Jones, right?
Yep.
So, I mean,
I got to freeze frame this. This is probably thumbnail right here. This is thumbnail. Look, Kevin Ali said, nah, I'm not taking my foot off your throat, brother. Freedom of speech, brother. Look how pissed he is. He looks, honestly, that is the exact expression I would expect from Dana White if you walked up to him and said, Jon Jones is not the pound for pound #1 best fighter in the world, okay? That's the exact expression I would expect. He thought he was going to get Kevin to back off. Get off my back. Stop breathing down my neck, Kevin. Leave me alone, Kevin.
I will say that I mean, I've had my share of arguments with him just like you have, but I like him. But I think the last thing is, too, who he is fighting, right, coming up. So everybody in this room thinks Aspinall is more highly rated than Stipe at this point. Stipe's reputation is fantastic, but he has not won a fight since he beat DC. And
Well, what about who is he fighting, Dana? He's fighting the dead corpse of Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic, real quick. When was his last win? Oh, August of 2020. His last fight was 2021 where he got flatlined and folded like a lawn chair by Francis Ngannou. Shout out to Kevin Ali for bringing that up. So he's won one fight in 4 years, and now he's fighting the dead corpse of Stipe Miocic, who's been answering phones at the fire department for the last 4 years. It's just crazy at this point. Dude's been answering phones at the fire department. And that's who Jon Jones is fighting. And you want us to rank him pound for pound #1 when you got Tom Aspinall waiting in the wings? Great question.
in 4 years. So that also plays into it, partially a factor, when you have a guy like Aspinall knocking Sergey Pavlovich out in a minute, Curtis Blades in less than a minute, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
That's just me.
No, I don't disagree with you. But here's the flip side to that. So what do? A guy who's looked at as the greatest heavyweight in the UFC, right? This fight set up, Jon Jones gets hurt. Not his fault.
By the time they fight, Tom Aspinall might be the greatest heavyweight in UFC history. By the time Jon Jones and Stipe actually fight.
He has to wait and go back into fucking training camp again. He was training. So do I just yank it away from Stipe and say, hey, go fuck yourself and sit on the sidelines for 2 more years? Or you know what I mean?
When I was watching this live, I already had the perfect response. And I was like, I'm probably not going to hit it. Kevin Iole knocked it out of the park right here with his response. It was amazing to watch.
Did that, you guys would be like, oh, you fucking disrespected the greatest heavyweight ever. And you know what I mean? So would the fucking fans. So I should just shit on Stipe because Jon got hurt and not make the fight that he was already supposed to fight.
We'll end it here, but I'll talk to you later.
What?
Okay, then the answer to that would be, you should have had Stipe fight Aspinall or somebody else, right?
Facts. Remember when you had Sergey Pavlovich as a backup for UFC 295 back in November? Stipe should have got his old ass in there and fought him. Then he could have earned his spot to fight Jon Jones. The world isn't fair. Jon Jones got injured. Why are we stalling up and log jamming the division for years for 2 old fucks to fight each other? Really, Stipe is the only one that's super old. But yeah. Oh, you want me to just shit on Stipe and take the opportunity away from Stipe? No, Stipe should have fought. He should have fought last November. He could have been interim champ. You could have had Jon Jones, undisputed heavyweight champion, versus Stipe Miocic, former heavyweight champion and interim heavyweight champion. And Kevin Iole points it out perfectly. The hypocrisy. Stipe should have fought. You could say Kevin Iole's got a dark side to him. Kevin Iole's got a dark side to him. And this goes on. There's still like 3 more minutes of this.
In the interim, because how do you qualify for a title shot when you have not fought since, 2021, and you lost that fight? How do you qualify for a title shot sitting out for over 3 years and just sitting on the sidelines waiting when you're trying to say who is the best fighter in the world? Should you not be active and be competing and be beating? You said yourself, and Hunter has said, that the UFC heavyweight division is the best it's ever been, right? So should he not be challenging himself against those fighters? So when Jon got hurt, instead of saying Stipe versus Pavlovich, Aspinall versus Pavlovich, why not Stipe versus Pavlovich or Stipe versus Aspinall at that point? That would be
hitting him with the facts. This was a masterclass from Kevin Iole. Instead of sitting on your ass, working your fire department job, saving cats from trees, why didn't you fight Tom Aspinall? Why didn't you fight Sergey Pavlovich? Just one fight, and the fans would be off Dana's back. He would just fought once. They say, okay, we're going to wait a year to book Jon Jones. It is what it is. Heavyweight division stalled up year after year for the last, basically since I've been watching the sport, the heavyweight title has been stalled up, okay? That's just facts. And Kevin Iole with the perfect response. You actually had Dana thinking about it. You know what? This guy's got a fucking point. This guy's got a point here.
the argument.
So I have two legends in the sport that wanted to fight each other. These guys are lined up. One guy gets hurt. And this is the fight that they both want. What do you do?
We don't always get what we want, Dana. The fans don't want it. I wish Kevin Iole would have hit him with that. Well, the fans don't want it, Dana. The fans don't want it, so I thought you put on the fights the fans want to see. Nobody wants this. Old decrepit Stipe versus Jon Jones in 2024 when Stipe hasn't won a fight. I mean, some of the fans that are fans of the UFC right now were swimming around in their daddy's nutsack last time Stipe Miocic had an actual win. Okay? And that's facts. So, these guys want to fight each other? That's the barometer for which you make fights? Mikhaev wanted to fight for the title. Mikhaev wanted to be in the UFC. And I know he's saying, well, they're legends, so they get this opportunity. But since when do you do that? When do you stall up a division for 2 years just because, they want to fight each other? Well, you know what? I want to fight Jon Jones as well. Give me Jon Jones. Give me Stipe at this point, okay? Give me Stipe. These guys wanted it, so we just booked it. I mean, that's just a cop-out.
You don't show the guys the respect. And I guarantee you this, if Stipe wins, Stipe's going to retire. You know what I mean? This will be Stipe's last fight.
All the more reason to not give Stipe's old ass the title fight. Okay? What do they call it in WWE? Putting someone over. We're going to have Stipe potentially win the title and just ride off into the sunset. Great story for Stipe, no doubt. No ill will towards Stipe. But that's what we're going to do rather than have Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, which is a banger. And Tom Aspinall beats Jon Jones, catapults him to superstardom. And we got a crazy, heavyweight champion who's knocking people out left and right. Instead, Stipe wins and then uses his cane or walker to just walk off into the sunset. What a joke.
So are you the media telling me I should just tell Stipe to fuck off and, good luck to you, Stipe. Right off into sunset. Go fight some fires and
answer some phones. I heard someone cut off a finger with a hedge trimmer the other day. Go help them. You're a paramedic, right? Help them bandage that up. Go save some cats from trees, okay? Go slide up and down the pole at the fire department, at the fire hall, okay? Do some OnlyFans content for the fire department. We don't need to see you fight Jon Jones when we haven't seen you fight in 4 years or win in 4 years. Tell him to fuck off. This isn't even supposed to be disrespectful towards Stipe. But the point remains, he has not fought. How can we be excited? I mean, there's so many UFC fans that have never seen Stipe fight, let alone win. Let me know down in the comments, how many of you guys have never seen Stipe fight nor win? Okay? At what point does respect how far can respect get you alone? Okay? Oh, well, we got to respect him. He defended the heavyweight belt back in 2009. Okay? I mean, how far can that get you? Okay? It makes no sense.
that's a wrap for you, buddy, because Jon got hurt. Or do I show this guy the respect that I should show him and give them both the fight that they want? That's the position I'm in. We had this thing lined up, and again, like you said, if Stipe was 32 years old, then that's probably what we do.
How does that make any sense? If Stipe is 32, then maybe we have him fight people. And even though I disagree with the argument by Dana, well, they asked for this fight. They're two legends. We already had it in the works before Jon got injured, right? I disagree with that premise, but if that's the argument, fair enough. Dana says, look, Stipe's the greatest heavyweight of all time in my book. Jon Jones is the greatest light heavyweight of all time. They both want to fight each other. We had it booked, and it got canceled because of an injury. I promised them both the fight. I'm still going to book it. I'm going to stick to my word. I'm going to keep my word, as Michael Chandler would say, and I'm going to keep my promise. I wouldn't necessarily agree with it, but I would respect it. And I would be like, okay, I get his point here. But what you don't need to do is then go ranting and raving about how Jon Jones is pound for pound number one and Tom Aspinall's working his way up. That's what you don't need to do. Yeah, Jon Jones pound for pound, no matter what. You'd be like, hey, welcome to Wendy's. Can I take your order? Jon Jones got a dark side to him. He's got 2 German shepherds. He's got guns and he shoots them. And he knocks spray paint cans out of teenagers' hands. That's what we don't need. Just say, look, I promised these 2 old fucks they would fight each other. I'm going to keep my word. They're going to fight each other. And then the winner can fight Tom Aspinall if they decide not to retire. I wouldn't be happy about it. I wouldn't agree with it. But I would respect it more than going around and just sucking off and brown-nosing Jon Jones left and right.
But this is probably Stipe's last fight, win or lose. And I'm not going to disrespect the guy. He accepted the fight. He was ready for the fight, and Jon got injured. If you don't think that I wouldn't love to just say, hey, let's do fucking Stipe and one of the top 3 heavyweights, and then we do Jon Jones versus, it would be great. But
Aspinall, that's what we'd love. Make Stipe earn his shot. Let Stipe fight someone. There's plenty of heavyweights that he can beat, man. Well, probably beat. I don't know. I haven't seen him fight in 4 fucking years. But there's plenty of guys he can probably beat. And let him earn his shot. Do Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall. Stipe fights the winner if he wins his fight. Do it on the same card. Imagine Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, co-main, Stipe versus Sergey Pavlovich. Okay, it's not a guarantee. But I would love to see those 2 fights on the same card. Winners fight each other. But instead we got this garbage.
We already agreed to this with these guys. We already had a deal. And Jon got hurt. It's not like I'm trying to pull off some fucking, fight nobody wants to see or.
That's literally what you're doing. Does anyone, let me know down in the comments, does anyone honestly want to see Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic or no? I'm very curious because I don't. I have no desire to see that. So you are trying to pull off a fight nobody wants to see.
Or not give Aspinall's a young, badass dude. He's got plenty of time. These guys are going to fight in November, and he will fight Jon Jones if he wins. I almost guarantee you that. And if Stipe wins, then we'll figure out what's next for Aspinall.
Mark my words, if Stipe wins, they're doing a rematch. Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic too, if Stipe wins. Mark my words, write it down right now. Quote me on that. If Stipe wins in November, they are doing a rematch, and then Tom Aspinall is going to be defending his interim title again and sitting on the sidelines, because that's what they will do. He'll be like, Jon Jones never lost a fight. The only loss on his record is an incompetent referee. Stipe's the first guy to ever beat him. Of course we're going to do a rematch. And you know how big that rematch would be?
So if Stipe were to happen to win, does Aspinall become the full champion given you
Well then who knows too. Let's see if Stipe wins and Stipe feels great. Maybe Stipe does take the fight. I don't know. I'm just saying, me right here now, I think that if Stipe wins, Stipe probably retires. But you never know until the fight's over. Anything can happen in a fight. Stipe could go in there and win spectacularly, and he beats the greatest fighter of all time, and maybe he wants to test himself against Aspinall, and maybe the money's right and it all lines up, and
Guarantee you would book a rematch if Stipe won. I'm telling you right now.
and he wants it. Who knows? But I made a deal with these two guys that they could fight each other, and
Okay, that doesn't mean you need to just keep going on and on about Jon Jones being pound for pound, okay? That's what Kevin needed to say right here. But eventually, Dana's like, I've had enough. I'm out of here. I'm going to storm out of here in a second.
one guy got hurt. Now he's ready, and the fight's going to happen. And Jon Jones is the pound for pound best fighter.
I mean, imagine running off on that. Imagine literally running off on that. Let's listen to that ending one more time.
But I made a deal with these two guys that they could fight each other, and one guy got hurt. Now he's ready, and the fight's going to happen. And Jon Jones is the pound for pound best fighter.
He said, I'm done. I'm out of here. Kevin, give me mercy. Stop the fight. Stop the fight. Where's Dan Hardy when you need him? This was one of the most single-handedly greatest post-fight press conference I have ever seen. Masterclass performance by Kevin Iole. Amazing rebuts. Amazing confrontation. Amazing to call Dana White out right to his face while the rest of the media stood there in silence. Completely quiet. Not willing to chime in at all. John Morgan a little bit in the beginning, but once it started getting a little bit heated, John Morgan was like, I don't want no problems. I want that first question at the press conference. So, love this exchange. Kevin Iole said exactly what we've all been thinking, and this was a beauty to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Please share the video as well, and thank you so much for watching.